relay some facts,
whether they're new or antique.
so just sit back and relax.
It's time for What's Up This Week. Hi, online public, and welcome to What's Up This Week, your weekly dose of facts and trivia from University Branch Library. This segment concerns a certain book that has endured over the decades, partly because of its literary merit, but also for the wide-ranging debate and discussions it has spawned since its debut. The novel in question is Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird, which was released on July 11, 1960 in the United States, and published by J.B. Lippincott and Company. In the book, an adult Jean Louise Scout Finch tells a childhood story largely about when her small-town lawyer father, Atticus Finch, defended Tom Robinson, a black man falsely accused of assaulting a white woman. The setting is the fictional town of Macomb, Alabama, during the Great Depression. The text, often explicitly, confronts social injustice, discrimination, innocence, and morality. This is a coming-of-age novel that's interested in the nature of people and how a community handles its own terrible failings. The author strives to interrogate and teach simultaneously. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee was bold in 1960, and it could be claimed the novel is a daring piece of fiction even today. Okay, Kim, what is your segment about?
Thanks, James. This week we're celebrating the birth of the Dutch master artist Rembrandt. Rembrandt was born on July 15, 1606, in the city of Leiden in the Dutch Republic, which is now known as the Netherlands. He was from a large and well-to-do family. And though many artists at the time studied painting in Italy, Rembrandt never left the Dutch Republic in his entire life. He moved to Amsterdam in 1631 and achieved success as a portrait painter. He married Saskia van Eilenberg, the cousin of an art dealer, in 1634. She modeled for some of his paintings and drawings over the course of their marriage, but sadly died in 1642, soon after the birth of their son, Titus. Rembrandt was both an artist and an art collector, and though his art sold, he spent all his profits on buying art for his own collection, including bidding on his own works at times. He ended up having to sell his house, and when he died in 1669, he was buried in an unmarked grave for the poor. Rembrandt's works have been said to combine the earthly and the spiritual in a harmonious way. In the course of his life, he produced well over 300 paintings, 300 etchings, and a number of drawings, though the exact numbers are disputed by scholars. Some works that were originally credited to Rembrandt have in later years been attributed to students of his. Rembrandt painted a lot of self-portraits, so we have a clear idea of what he looked like for most of his adult life. He also painted a large number of biblical and mythological works, and would sometimes include himself as a member of a crowd. He quite often employed chiaroscuro, the dramatic use of light and shadow, to create dramatic and lively paintings. For someone who never left their home country, Rembrandt is one of the most well-known and studied artists of all time. Other artists, including his contemporaries, respected and revered him. Goya, Rodin, and Van Gogh all spoke very highly of his talent, and he has lived on in popular culture. There are a number of novels and films about Rembrandt. There are restaurants, hotels, art supplies, and toothpaste named after him. And remember the theme song for Friends? Written and performed by the Rembrandts. If you want to learn more about Rembrandt's life and works, we've got plenty of library items available for you to check out. Here are a few. Okay, Megan, what is this week's weird thing?
Hi everyone! This week's weird thing is that July 13th is International Rock Day. Wait, no. Not rock music. Rocks. You know, solid masses of minerals and other geological materials that make up Earth's crust and most of its insides. Yeah, those rocks. Now stay with me here because rocks may seem dull, but they're super interesting and important. So, you know what? I'm gonna allow the rock music for this segment. There are a lot of different types of rocks, classified by their physical characteristics and categorized as either igneous, sedimentary, or metamorphic. With time and changes to the physical environment, rocks can transform from one type to another in what is known as the rock cycle. Igneous rocks are formed when magma or lava cools and solidifies. This cooling can happen inside the Earth's crust or on the surface during volcanic eruptions. Some common igneous rocks are granite, basalt, and pumice. Sedimentary rocks are formed when minerals, pre-existing rocks, and/or pieces of once living organisms accumulate and are compressed together in layers. Some common sedimentary rocks are sandstone, limestone, and shale. Metamorphic rocks are formed when existing rocks are exposed to high heat, pressure, and/or chemically reactive fluids. This typically happens where tectonic plates meet. Some common metamorphic rocks are slate, marble, and gneiss. Rocks have had an enormous impact on the human race. I mean, we kind of live on a giant rock, and for 2.5 million years, we've been putting them to use, mining them for their metals and building things with them. And those metals we mine from them are put to use in a multitude of ways. Rocks are used to create nearly everything. On International Rock Day, you should learn more about rocks and their many uses. You can go out into nature and find some rocks to try to identify them. You can work on an art project that involves rocks, or you can simply expand your mind and learn more about them. Fort Bend County Libraries has books and DVDs to help you with all of these activities. Here are just a few of the items we have to offer. Happy International Rock Day, everybody. Be sure to join us again next week for more facts and trivia from University Branch Library.